Good morning. Hello. Welcome. My name is Gary Clayton. I'm co-chair of the Concord250 Executive Committee. Again, welcome. We're glad you're here. It's another opportunity for us to work particularly with the local Concord business community to provide you with more information and updates relative to the celebrations that will begin in the very near future and what that means for us in terms of welcoming our guests, moving people around, helping you in your business with your employees and the like. We'll make sure that this morning we will have ample time for questions and answers. So we'll work on that as we go through this meeting this morning. But again, thank you so much for being here. We're very busy at this point in time. Lots of work still going on, more details to hammer out. That's perhaps not surprising, at least for us who've been very much involved in this endeavor for the last 2.5 years. But as we get closer, more of those details are ironed out, and it is going to be a wonderful day on April 19th, and really the week before as we begin to ramp up with programs and activities and welcoming many guests to Concord. So thank you again for being here this morning. I am going to introduce Captain Brian Goldman, Concord Police Department, who will provide some updates and overview of what we are embarking on and how it will relate to your business and the operation of your business in the weeks ahead, and particularly on Saturday, April 19th. Again, welcome. Brian.
Thank you, Gary.
Good morning. First, I just want to say thank you to Gary. I want to say thank you to everyone that's been involved with the planning for the 250th. A lot of work, a lot of thought has gone into this. And I also want to say that we are here for you. And I really want to make this morning a little different than what we did the last time. And I want to hear from everyone in the room. If you have questions, this is the best place to try and get them answered, and I want to work towards that. There haven't been a lot of changes in terms of the schedule or the road closures. I have a bunch of pretty maps I'm going to put up in a few minutes, and I'm going to go through not a quick PowerPoint, but I'm going to go through a PowerPoint, and then I would like to spend a lot of time just on the Q&A piece, because I think that's the most important thing. We've heard from a lot of people. I think there's still a lot of questions out there, and rumors and myths and everything else I'd like to put to bed too. And no one has been securing the manhole covers. I just want to be very clear about that. Okay. So, as we all know, the schedule itself really hasn't changed over time. It's getting fine-tuned a little bit, and what you will see, we lost picture. So one of the changes that is going on is, we talked about the Medal of Honor recipient dinner that's going to be on Friday night. I think originally we told everyone that was going to be at 7 o'clock that night. It's actually going to be at 5 o'clock, starting at that 5 to 9 at the Armory. That will be just prior to the start of us rolling out the road closures. So that's a slight change. I don't think it really impacts anyone. I also know, and I have a request from a few people in the audience, hopefully, any businesses that are open on Friday night that are going to be open late, we need to communicate. I need to know what time you plan on closing. We just need to have some conversations about that. Our rollout for Friday night is going to start at 6 o'clock with the road closures. That's when we're going to be restricting traffic, but it's going to be a slow rollout, keeping in mind the businesses that are still going to be open in the downtown area. So that is a conversation I'd like to maybe have sooner than later at some point. But anyhow, back to the schedule. We have the dawn salute at 6 a.m., obviously. We have the parade stepping off at about 8:30. Last check, there's probably close to 2,000 participants in the parade, so the parade will be fairly long, but it's also going to be the number of units aren't going to be as big as I think maybe what we expected a little bit. Parade will get up to the bridge. There will be a flyover at approximately 10:15. Parade will depart from the bridge, come back through town, past the reviewing stand, and disassemble in the Emerson Field, Everett Street area. Later on, after around 2 o'clock, there's going to be the block party. With the block party, there are going to be a series of events downtown, in the downtown area, and a few other places, Stowe Street area, things like that, capped off with the drone show. We're fine-tuning the location of where the drones are going to take off, but they will be visible in the downtown area. So I promised some slightly different maps. This is a map of the parade route with all the locations, as you can see, for the parade events going on. The Dawn Salute, obviously, up at the North Bridge, the Old North Bridge ceremony. We go down further for the Medal of Honor recipient. These maps will be made available, I think, probably within the week, not even, a couple days, as soon as I can get them to the communications team. So we have that going on. That is the parade route. As I've mentioned before, the parade is going to come from Thoreau Street to Sudbury Road into Monument Square, Monument Square to Lowell Road up Liberty. It will either go through the park or around. Parts are going to go around the park. There are motorized vehicles that can't go in the park. Come back down Monument Street, past the reviewing stand in front of the townhouse, out Lexington to Hayward, Hayward down to the Everett Street, Emerson Field area. Quick overview of everything that's going to be closed in some way, shape, or form on the north side of Concord. Everything you see up here in yellow are what we call soft closures, meaning we will have people in position. We can facilitate some traffic out. We can facilitate those that live in town in. When you get into the red marks up there, those are the hard closures. That is in and around the parade route. We are not letting anything except public safety move within that venue and the parade, obviously. It's a list of the streets that are going to be non-accessible are up there. As you can see, we have the road closure starting at 6 o'clock on Friday night. We anticipate the ending of those to be 11 o'clock on Saturday. We are also instituting on Friday night at 10 p.m. townwide parking ban. The whole town. We do not want people camping out, walking in, say, from 117. So we will make every attempt to move those vehicles if they show up. If we have to, we will tow them. That is the last resort. This is a map of the downtown closures. If everybody can see this, this will get posted later today. Is that fair to say? And you can see where the parade route is on this map, but you can also key in the left-hand side of the screen where it says Kaiser Road and the Walden Street Municipal Lots. We anticipate having those shut off at 10 p.m. on Wednesday night. The reason being, we have a cell cal coming in, we have first aid stations, tents, equipment coming in on Kaiser Road. And then Walden Street, we have the areas where the food trucks, those need to be marked off and those need to be planned accordingly. Back to the transportation piece, this is not changed. We have the commuter line. They came to the table. They increased service for that day on Saturday. They will have a special event schedule running for one of the trains. The regular train will also run. The special event schedule train will stop in South Acton and then go back to increased frequency. That will hold about 1,600 people. Normal train holds between 400 and 600. We have the inter-community shuttle route that's going to run between here and Lexington, 2 stops out on Route 2A. Keep in mind, if it gets inundated with spectators out on 2A and it spills out into the roadway, we are going to hold that shuttle service up. And that's just for safety reasons. The buses really aren't trained to kind of weave and bob in between people. If it gets that busy out there, it just doesn't make sense to run the shuttle. And then we have locations. There's only going to be 2 pickup and drop-off locations in Concord. One is going to be in and around the museum. We figured we could run buses and we can stage buses and stack them from Cambridge Turnpike out to Lexington Road. And then the other one, which will be a little more limited and on a time crunch, will be the one up by the Minuteman National Park Visitor Center on Liberty Street. Locations where we're parking or we're anticipating parking, and I say that because of Verrill. Verrill may not be viable, meaning if the fields are saturated, we can't park cars out there. So this is going to be kind of a last-minute thing. Transportation, Concord Transportation is going to be handling pickup and drop-offs with the school buses. They can adjust their schedule and their routes as need be if this becomes something we can do. Employees in town, the courthouse, 747 Main Street, Summit Crosby's, and we're also going to rely on CMLP. And here's the other ask. And I had asked, Officer Steve Hawkins is here with me this morning. I asked Beth, I'd like to know how many employees you have coming in so we can get an idea. What would be nice to be able to do is direct you which site to go to. If I only need to park 20 cars, I can probably put them all at the courthouse. If I need to park 200 cars, we need to kind of pick and choose where we're sending people. There will be shuttle buses running to get people back and forth. People can also walk if they choose, if it's a nice day. Food trucks. Food trucks, food trucks, food trucks. Melanie, stand up, please. I'm going to let you speak a little bit to this.
Well, great, thank you. We do have some food trucks. We had a good number of respondents, and some of our local businesses that aren't in the downtown are also going to vend on Walden Street. So we have about 14 or so people coming in at Walden Street throughout the day. And then we did, since we had so many, and I didn't cut anybody, we are putting 5 or so on Stowe Street, right by where the Jumbotron is going to be. So we allow everybody who asked can do it. So we said yes, but then we have a few that are there. I don't know what else.
This is a map. This will go out at some point as well. This shows the locations of the food trucks in and around the parade,
Yep.
where the parade is going to be.
The Concord Museum is going to have 4 food trucks at their site during the day, and a good number of other businesses, Colonial Inn, the Masonic Temple, have some temporary food setups on their property. That's going to be a fun time.
Thank you. The idea here is to supplement everything else that's going on, to supplement the business community, and just give people options. People are going to be moving around that day, and I think it was important that we were able to get this done and identify locations that were key without overloading the whole entire downtown area. This is a map of where we're going to have stationed portable restrooms. As you can see, it's a little busy up there. The idea is to take it away from people constantly going into your businesses and saying, can I use your bathroom? Can I use your bathroom? Or using the visitor center's bathroom, or finding other places to use bathrooms. No, we purposely looked at this, took a lot of time. Melanie, I give kudos to immensely. We looked at where people were going to be saturated, so we planned on that and give people the option there to avoid some of the things we learned from 1975. This is just a little bit of the staging area for downtown on the afternoon events, as you can see. Number 1 is where the review stand is going to be over in front of the townhouse, and then the other 2 locations for the arts and crafts and Freedom Park and the museum. Just something is a quick overview. And then lastly, this hasn't changed the communications plan with Laurie, Polly, Diane. They've done an incredible job with this. I mean, if anybody's followed this on Facebook or followed it on Instagram, it's great. I do, just so I can learn things. I can't say enough about that. That's been a huge help. And what we did before, and I'd like to continue to do, I'll have you reach out to Officer Stephen Hawkins, have him work with me to get your answers. You hopefully will get a timelier response that way, just because there's been a lot of other stuff coming in over the last, say, 2 months since we last met. That just kind of complicates things, and I'd at least like to know you're being received, even if it takes us a little longer to get the answers back. And questions? Yes, ma'am.
We will have probably 2 employees getting dropped off on the morning of Saturday. Will we be assigned where they should come with their drop-off, like, to be dropped off? I had to make a list of names and cars and license plates for drivers. I don't know if that was for the parking or for the dropping off. I'm just curious about those arrangements. If people don't want to park, but they want to get dropped off by car.
They just want to get dropped. So I would recommend having them dropped off at one of the designated employee parking areas. And then we'll figure.
You will get designated.
Yeah.
So everybody that we have an email address for, so I'm going to set that up. If we have your email address on file, you got an email about a week ago with a form to fill out. If you are a business, so you did. If you did not, that means we don't have your email or it went to your spam folder. We are, Polly, where are you with the?
There's 2 notepads going around. One's on a hardback and one's just a notepad. So if you put your information on there, also through the survey, we'll be able to access.
Yes, so that email came with a whole lot of information, including a lot of what has been up here. It includes, if you are a downtown business, what your hours are on Friday, so Captain Goldman will be able to know that. And it's a whole form, it has lots of information on it for you to fill out. So if you did not get that, and we don't have your email, please make sure we have it. After today's meeting, MMTV is going to send us the link to today's meeting. We will resend all of that information out, guessing Monday. So we will be collecting that. Once we tabulate all of that, as Captain said, we'll figure out what parking lots we need to send you to. So if you give us all of the information by, Donna put the 24th as the deadline so that we can try to make sure that we've got everybody accounted for.
Sorry, could you just repeat, how do we get to you to get this?
Make sure we have your email. There's 2 sheets going around. Make sure you put your email down on it.
I actually printed it out and filled it out, thought I got handed in today, so who should I give it to?
You can give it to me, it's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
I have, for Friday night, the closure starting at 6, I have this, I'm from the Northbridge Inn, I have guests coming in, their place don't get in until after 6. Will they be able to?
We need,
Towns, like you do their names and they have identification?
that's what I'm looking for. So if you can coordinate with Officer Hawkins and get all that information to him. One thing, if you have a way to let them know, I would like them to come in Walden Street. Walden Street is the,
I'll repeat guests so they know.
yeah. If they come in Walden Street, then it's easier for us to facilitate, and I can give that to those on post up there. And just, it's going to be the state police that are actually helping us with the road closures up on Route 2. We've had these discussions. They're aware of what's going on. But if I have that master list, that way, if we probably won't be able to get them a pass, but they can check them off and get them in. And also, the rollout is going to be a slow closure on Friday night, specifically for these reasons. I anticipate by 8 o'clock we'll have things shut down. So it should, fingers crossed, it should work.
Hi there. I have a shop on Main Street, and behind the store, so it's Patina Green Bookstore, Brine, Sally Ann's, all one landlord, and there are private parking spots behind the stores. But I know food trucks are going to be in that Walden lot. Will we have access to get into those private spots behind the shops?
Unless you're going to get here at like 2 in the morning, I would prefer that you park at one of the designated areas for your staff and employees and business owners. Reason for that being, I really do not want any vehicular traffic that could potentially create a problem downtown. That's the only reason. I don't think it would happen. I tend to trust most people in this room, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Just somebody all of a sudden, family emergency comes up, somebody, is panicking and not thinking right, and they want to get out, and we have a parade right in the middle of where they're trying to get out. It won't work, and it will just create undue frustration, so.
Mayor? Go ahead, you go first.
Duke it out.
No, you got to get up here with me now, so that's.
Good morning. I have a couple questions. I don't know, Melanie, this is for you. Can you provide a list of the food vendors, the trucks for us, so we know what is being served, or? Okay.
I do have one and it has gone, but I can get it out.
Great, okay. And then I do have a couple questions. Did you say Walden Street Municipal Lot was going to be closed Wednesday?
Wednesday night at 10 o'clock, so we have time to set up on Thursday. So there's going to be portable restrooms, there's going to be a huge dumpster coming in.
So closed until Friday, or?
Through Saturday.
Okay, so we have about 500 customers that come into Fiorella's between Wednesday and Saturday. Where should they park?
I would recommend between Friday and Saturday.
Wednesday night, Friday
Wednesday night,
night, Thursday night, Friday night?
I would recommend on-street parking. There is enough parking in and around there. I will promise you this, if they park somewhere, as long as they're not blocking anything, where it says no parking, we'll deal with that until Saturday. 10 o'clock Friday night, if people are parked, we're going to want to get the cars out of there. Let's have a follow-up conversation on that, too.
Okay. Thank
Other
you.
question. You said you had 2?
Are you all set? Leslie, did you have any more questions?
That would go also for our deliveries as well. Would they be able to pull in and leave into the lot?
I believe so. That's another follow-up we'll have. The deliveries is the easier piece, the 500 customers coming and going could get
We
a
also
little
have
complicated.
employees that park in that lot too.
Yep,
so.
and yeah. Let's have an offline conversation, because you are one of the businesses that is right in the forefront.
I mean, there's
of
a
my-
lot of businesses, it's not just
Yeah.
for me, but
Yeah.
I know a lot of the businesses, customers park in the municipal lot. so.
Right.
Thank you.
Melanie?
I can't solve the problem right now. The bathrooms and the dumpster are going to be on the far side along the private lot. I didn't put them abutting the back because you're going to have open food there, so we put them there, trying to be away. But those have to be staged on Wednesday, or on Thursday. So that's part of our problem, is that we have to, and I can't have cars there. We're going to have to put porta potties up and the dumpster come in. So there is some logistics of some spots being taken up around town with, the toilets have to be on hardscape on the ground. So even in this parking lot for this church, the toilets are going where those cars are right now. They're coming in on Thursday. Right, and I need to push all that out, and we have the map and the location and everybody, okay, this is where the toilets are, and that's going to limit the parking. And I'm very sorry. But there's no, I can't have everybody come in on Saturday morning. I can't have everything coming in on Friday. It's because I'm competing with a marathon. So that's sort of the best we could do. All right, thanks.
I just had a question. So if we're vending on Saturday, we'll be able to drive in the morning? No problem?
So yes. So if you are a vendor in the Walden Street or Stowe Street lot, you will or have already, you're in a different category because of who you are, received information from me about getting credentialed, getting an inspection. Those people are going to get a placard to get through and directions how to drive, and they also will get some sort of way to be identified to get through the barricade. But that's not the businesses that have employees that's for the mobile temporary food in Walden, and then how to get you parked. So we're solving that problem now with some food trucks, and then there's a group, and Jen, you're in it, that are the temporary coming in that I haven't quite figured out what we're doing with, but we have going to get you a placard to get you to come in. It's being worked on now.
Thank you. Will the closures on Wednesday, when everything starts, impact FedEx and UPS deliveries? Because I have a store on Main Street, and we get deliveries every day, and we send things out every day, and it will really impact our business in a negative way.
So the intent is for deliveries to continue through the closure, right, on Friday night. So if you have to have a delivery after 6 o'clock, the ask is to try to get everything you can by 6 o'clock on Friday night, even if you have to try to beg, borrow, and steal to change. If you cannot, you need to tell Officer Hawkins. You cannot make that change if you're a downtown business. So that is still operations as normal. There's a few places, the Kais Road lot and the Walden lot, where we need space to start staging. We can't stage, close everything down and stage all after Friday after 6. You just can't.
Wednesday, Thursday shouldn't be an issue. If your business is on Main Street, they stop on Main Street, they make their deliveries. Friday after 6, if you need something delivered first thing Saturday morning, we just would need to coordinate that and communicate on that, that's all.
We just have to, we found that we had to because of the vendor staged a couple days ahead. So I understand your questions and concerns, but deliveries should be fine.
You're good. So I'm in the Walden lot at Hope Coffee. So we have deliveries coming through on Friday morning.
Yep.
Are they going to be able to go through that lot?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry, not yep. Yes.
Yes.
Beth, up front, left, right.
So Thursday and Friday, we're looking at we need to have access access to that lot for staging. And we will work with the actual plan for Thursday and Friday. We need those spaces for the toilets, trash, mark out where the trucks are gonna be, because the trucks are coming in before 6 o'clock. Everybody's coming in 6 o'clock Saturday morning. So Wednesday's okay.
Wednesday during the day is okay.
During the day, you got until 10 o'clock Wednesday.
It's Thursday where the porta potties and the junk, things are gonna be delivered.
Yep.
So I asked that we start closing that lot down, because I need to have access to that.
So,
Put a porta potty if the car is there.
so again, the form will be sent out if you don't have it already. If we don't have your email, there is where Gary is right in there. Make sure we have your email. Even if you think we have it, if you didn't get an email that would have come from Mimi Graney as Economic Vitality, if you did not get that, or you don't have it in your spam, we probably don't have it, or we have it incorrect. And Donna actually has, thanks Donna, the QR code, so if you want to snap the QR code, that will put you on news and notices.
This goes directly to.
Oh, that goes to that goes to the survey, even better. Thanks, Donna. So,
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
There are two signups going around. One has the email, space for emails. This one, we just realized, did not. So please make sure you either put an email on this one or the form that Gary, that's over by the door. And if you can do anything today, please sign up for news and notices. The way you do that is you go to the town site, there's a notify me, and there's a list called Concord250 Stay Connected. And Donna sends those out every week. We give her updates. And if you are kind of overwhelmed by all this information, go to Concord250.org. There's a banner on the top. If you click on that, that goes to the town site that has all these answers. And we are literally updating like every day.
One other quick thing too, I think if we haven't used the word yet this morning, I will now. Communication needs to be two-way with us and the staff. And if we communicate back and forth going through this, I think things will decrease a lot of angst and a lot of possible frustration later on. But if we don't communicate, then we're going to be kind of button heads with each other, I think, on around the 19th, 18th, 19th. Yes.
I just want to be clear, if you're either getting dropped off or parking in one of those sites you've designated, will there be a local shuttle taking you into the center of town if you're a merchant? So you don't have to walk from Crosby's to Walden Street?
That's the plan.
And
Saturday.
every
Saturday.
half an hour, every 20 minutes? Is it going to be doing a circle, just going round and round?
Yeah, they're going to jump back and forth depending on the need. I mean, we tried to pick these locations. A couple of them are way far out, but Crosby's, the courthouse, it's within walking distance if somebody doesn't want to, we'll give them a ride.
if they're carrying something, and that's for Saturday.
That's all I'm talking about.
Yep.
So Thursday and Friday, is that, right, because we can't park in the municipal lots because the.
Thursday, Friday, there'll be street parking. As the captain said, everything is pretty much available, other than those just two lots, yeah.
Just to follow up on the parking question, and I'm not trying to be snippy because I know how much is going on, but for employees that are trying to plan their time for the shuttle, should they anticipate taking an hour or half an hour in terms of the cycle? So if they're due at work, let's say at 10, they should arrive at the parking lot at 9, or any guidance there?
I give a half-hour buffer.
About a
just
half an
to
hour.
play it safe. I'd like to see them run every 15 minutes. If they're coming in from CMLP, it could take a little bit longer. If they're coming in from 747, it could take a few more minutes. The courthouse, Crosby's, for what we anticipate we're getting at Crosby's, is close enough for people to get to maybe where they need to be. That's also part of the other reason why we want to identify how many we have so we can tell them where to park, and then we can put in that, and we will, kind of a rough idea of how long it'll take to get back and forth.
All right, thank you. And then a small question. The maps you were showing, particularly, not to pick on it, but the porta potty one, will that be available print quality so we can print off the web? Because I anticipate people coming in, where's the nearest potty, and being able to help them.
Yeah, that should be available.
So I will say about the maps, and you're next, and then you in the back. There are these maps that Captain Goldman is showing you, and then there will be a pedestrian-friendly map. that will be ready by early next week, and that will have just major locations marked. It will not have all the road closures. It is designed for people that are on foot. So that will be print quality. It will be printed into a brochure that we're going to distribute that day. It is being made into a poster to hang in everybody's store. It will have the route of the parade, major locations where food, restrooms, first aid are located, and that is what you'll be able to print. Hold on.
Mr. Hawkins' mic doesn't seem to be on, or it's not nearly as loud as...
My mic?
Excuse me? She can't hear him as well as she
Oh, Brian, closer to the mic.
I don't think his mic is on.
How about now?
A little better, it's not as loud as the...
How about now?
Thanks, Carol.
I talk softly. I'm aware of it. It's a professional reason that nobody needs to be bored with here. But just tell me to talk up. I can talk up, and I can talk all day, to be honest with you. Yes.
Hi, thank you. I'm just wondering, has an area been designated along the parade route for people with disabilities, and how will they get there? Because they're not going to be able to travel, some people more than a few feet.
We do have an area that's going to be designated for that. Maybe a little more on that to follow.
Okay.
I think is the best way to put
just
it.
one other question, and you've probably thought about it with the porta potties, that every porta potty location would have porta potties that are handicap accessible.
Yeah.
So yes, there's 225 toilets being delivered on Thursday. At every location that is for the public, there's at least one accessible, in some case two accessible bathrooms, and a hand sink set up. They're going to come in zip-tied, closed. We know people are going to break into them. But the intent is then we're going to open them on Saturday morning. We have a team from that's going to go around and secure them all, and then that same team is going to monitor them. So if you have a complaint, you're going to reach out to, I figured out the number, me, my cell phone. Some of the businesses, you all have my cell phones. You know how to find me. But I have a team that's going to then restock toilet paper if we need to. And the second part of this is if something becomes destroyed or not usable for some reason, we will zip tie and post it. We don't have a lock, but we'll do our best to communicate that this one's unavailable right now, okay? And that's all we can do, because we cannot have service come in during the middle of the parade. The same reason with cars and people can't drive around. We can't have a big septic truck come and clean the toilets in the middle of the parade. Nobody wants that. But, we know that if there's a good number of people that come, the use level, again, in some areas where I can't predict, like we tried to concentrate where we think people were going to be. There's 10 toilets on the Walden lot. There's 7 toilets over on where the Jumbotron's going to be. There's a whole bunch over at Emerson Field. There's some here at this property. There's for the work here that's having at the tavern. There's some kind of behind.
They're all over the place.
Oh, everywhere. Like there's actually like 40 spots. Okay, so we did our best, but I know. Do I anticipate there being some speed bumps? Yes. I hope nobody tips them over, that kind of thing. But we're gonna. So that's kind of the plan. Any other questions about toilets? I'll talk about toilets all day. Septic lady right here, okay? No problem, but
I'm going to take this from her now.
Thank you.
Hi, so just backing up to the printable quality walking map, is it possible, so I see a negative impact on my business starting on Wednesday, because none of the locals will come in. Is it possible to get a print quality map for pedestrians, and then also for the road closures, so we can hand them out a week before and kind of promote what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are very uninformed, and it would be very useful to have that.
We can get the maps to you. I do want to just keep the focus on Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday is not going to be an issue. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, just Kai's, just Walden. That's it. Everything else should flow and function as normal until 6 o'clock Friday night, give or take. And we want to work with everyone to kind of make that work at night. It's just we need a little more communication and back and forth. And I know there's been a lot of information that's just still starting to roll out. Some of this we're just getting and finalizing at this point because of other players involved, so.
And if I could just chime in on the maps, we'll make sure that map, you're going to see it everywhere. I'm going to put it on social media, so Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. We'll also have it on the site. If you go to Concord250.org, it will be there. It will also, if you link to the town page, I'll also link to a PDF that you can print out. But you're going to see it everywhere. We'll print them next week, too.
Thank you. So another question about that. We have so many customers who come into town, and they can't even get cell service to look at the maps on any of the websites. So it's a continual problem. I know that there's some portable cell towers coming in, but, you know, we need to be more accommodating to the businesses and to the customers who are coming in. So if we could have a printout handout for those people, starting, you know, ASAP, it would be extremely helpful. It might help us not lose some of the business that I know we're going to lose.
We can work on that. And as far as the cell piece goes, AT&T is setting up today. So their cell cow is going up. They have to test it and align it and do all this stuff. And if anybody wants a real treat, go down the Kais Road and look at the 80-foot antenna down there. I forget exactly when Verizon is coming in. They're bringing 2 trucks in. So we really hope it will help. I know it's going to help with calls. I don't know how much it's going to help with cellular data when people are trying to go to sites. We're hoping it increases. T-Mobile, they were supposed to be increasing their infrastructure in town this month. My understanding is that should work and make significant improvements. So there's been some strides made on that. It's not perfect. I don't want to lose sight of that. To your point, we will work on getting out some maps that you can use and stuff like that.
Right here?
Yes, ma'am.
Will there be designated spots for first aid just in case there's some kind of an emergency? I mean, small or large?
Why would we do that? Kais Road is one. That's the big one. Fire EMS is going to be staged on Kais Road, actually right near the Verizon cell cow. There'll be that. There's a couple other places staged. They're going to have stuff up near the North Bridge, up around Fenn, up around that area.
Hi. I'm not in the downtown area, but if you're one of the general parking lots, when do you anticipate, is that just on Saturday that it'll be affected, or do you think it'll be affected Thursday and Friday as well?
In terms of showing up to park there, or?
Yeah. So like we have employees and clients who come in and park throughout the day, but we were just wondering if it would just be Saturday that people would be parking there, or if it would be throughout the week too?
Predominantly Saturday.
Okay.
I mean, if people show up and they want to leave their cars there, you might get a few of those. We can't predict that. We're not going to monitor that. Those lots will be open. We're just providing transportation from those areas with the agreements we have in place.
I will say, I would expect that any parking lot that is in town, any street parking will be more full Thursday, Friday because of the closures. So who's next?
Is it the lot only or the lot?
Wednesday night, it is the lot at Walden and the lot at Kais.
Correct.
So all street parking will be available. Any other lot that you normally use will be open Thursday and Friday.
So in response to the question about first aid, we do have teams of ambassadors, and Court can tell you about those.
Yeah, the first line of defense, so to speak, for health and medical needs will be Emerson Hospital and the formal, shall I say, first aid stations, Kais Road, Hunt Gym, correct, Captain?
Yes, sir.
And then we'll have about 150 community volunteers. They'll be in very prominent orange vests, easy to see. A lot of them will have basic first aid skills, and all of them will be capable of pulling 911 resources our way. So that's the way that's going to look.
And just also, just to touch on that a little bit further, for the amount of, I'll call law enforcement personnel we're going to have available that day, we try not to saturate with law enforcement personnel, but they will be out there, they will be readily available, you will see our personnel. So if something is needed, I strongly recommend if you see someone in a uniform, approach them, and they will do their best to assist you or get you assistance that you need.
Captain, right here in the back.
Yes, sir.
Captain, I can imagine a lot of people might try to game the system a little bit using Uber and Lyft, and I'm wondering if we've contacted them and read them the rules and designated spots for pickup and drop off.
We're following what Massport is doing, increasing the tax, first of all. Second of all, I have to, it's Friday, it's getting close to D-Day, I'm sorry. Yeah, to answer your question, yes. So we're working with some partners to geofences so we can direct them to the general parking lots, so they can drop off there, then they can take a shuttle bus in.
Hi, I'm Pam from the Chamber. I've had a couple questions come in on this. Sorry, I know it's probably not fair, but people are asking in the center, businesses, is it safe for me to be open that Saturday?
I'm going to tell you it's going to be safe. I'm going to tell you that we are going to have enough people down there to make you feel safe, and if we get 500,000 people to come to town, you're still going to feel safe. But that's my opinion. I can't tell you what to do or what not to do. I personally would like to see every business open and try and operate as close to regular business as possible. I know that could be challenging given the amount of people that could be here, but my general opinion is yes, it will be safe. We have a lot of resources committed to this event. We're going to have a lot of stage resources hopefully you'll never see. We are prepared for this. We've learned, we've taken lessons away from a lot of different things, including 1975, other events that have happened around the country. And I think we're in a very, very good position to be prepared to deal with just about anything and prevent anything. And that does tie back into the road closures. One of the things we looked at early on with the road closures was the ability to at least monitor what's coming into this event. This isn't your typical event where there's a check-in point, so we can't just screen everybody that's coming through. But if we limit the amount of traffic and the amount of people coming into town, we can see what's coming in. We can put eyes on them sooner than later. So, again, to answer your question, I'd like to see everybody open. It will be safe. I can't promise anything.
May I just rewind to the food issue, or the question about food? It sounds like the food trucks are coming in early in the morning. They may be limited on resources, and then we have the block party from 2 to 7:30 and the drone show.
Melanie, why don't you come up here?
Will there be enough food to keep people from getting hangry and thirsty through the afternoon? And I know the restaurants here are limited as well.
Yeah.
Can't pump out that many pizzas to 200,000 people. But so if you could just speak to that a little bit, that'd be great.
I can a little. We do have the food trucks coming in and staged. So there's groups that are here all day, and there's groups that are going to be here in the morning and leave after the parade at 3, and there's a new group coming in at 3 o'clock for the evening part. I can't answer the food and I know a number of the businesses are doing modified menus so they can accommodate larger volume. So I know I've worked with a couple of businesses doing that. I can't promise you there will be all the food you need if there's 200,000 people at 9 o'clock. I can't promise that. Just like because I don't know how many people. That's the million-dollar question with this event. Are we going to have 10,000 people or 150,000 people? And we don't know. So I think we're doing our best to accommodate in the space in what we have to increase food. And every vendor is bringing as much as they can possibly store, but then I have to tell them you have to keep it cold and safe, right? And there's a balance between that. So their capacity to serve and what they can keep hot or cold and serve safely. So, thanks, Melanie.
Customers are starting to ask us if we're going to be open on that Saturday, and they're very curious about what other stores will be open and closed. And just as a shop owner, I wondered if people would be willing to raise their hand if they're at this point leaning toward not opening. Not opening?
Probably not, because my staff all grew up in Concord and they all want to participate in
Right, so I sort of like, I just wanted to get a sense of what people are doing.
Are you paying them to be part of the event?
Am I paying?
Your staff? If your staff is going to be part of the event and they're not going to be available to work, are they getting paid or you fire them?
Thank you.
Again, it's Friday. I have to make a few jokes.
Hi, I'm Jen with Discover Concord magazine, and we have a commemorative issue called Discover the Battle Road that we're going to be handing out at the Wright Tavern as part of the beer garden event that's happening there. We're still trying to figure out the placement of this, but we have a 12-foot trailer. It's not a food vehicle, but we do need that credentialed so that we can place it somehow at Wright Tavern. Would I just speak to you guys about that?
Are you working with Anthem on that?
I'm coordinating with Tom Wilson, so yes, indirectly.
Let's have an offline conversation at some point
Okay.
on the best place to put that. We're going to have to also figure out a good time to get that in.
Absolutely, and we're very flexible that way, so we'll connect afterwards.
And the only day we're really worried about is Saturday.
I can bring it in Friday or Thursday, whatever works.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, thank you.
See, the beer garden got everybody's attention.
Just a thought, I don't know if it's a good idea to post what stores will be open on the website so people know what's open and what's not, like a merchant section.
Yeah. They are working on that. And I also would make the suggestion, if you don't feel like you want to open for the parade, definitely open for the block party. Everyone is open for the Christmas parade. I'm going to say this based on some history in town. I think the drone show is going to get a lot of attention that day, but I think the block party is going to be a lot more town-friendly, if you will, so.
Hold on one second. The mic's here.
Good morning. My name is Faye Allen, and I just wanted to say a few words about decorating the town. We plan to showcase our beautiful New England town with all its natural charm and historic character. And we are asking that you not cover up the entire building with swags and bunting. We ask that you plan to concentrate your patriotic decorations around your front door entrance, the first floor level, and of course in your windows. And lastly, a reminder that the pansy planting day is the morning of April 10th with a rain day of April 11th. Thank you.
So I think we're going to open our store, and of course, my staff is very concerned. Everyone's very concerned about security, and I know there'll be a lot of all of you in town, which is thank you, but what other security will be available besides the Concord Police?
I'm not so sure in terms of.
So just security for the event. I mean, it's overwhelming to think about 100,000, 150,000, 10,000 people coming into town, and given the political climate in the world right now, which is quite negative, and just life, I'm concerned about security.
So I can't give away the master plan. I can tell you there's going to be folks out there gathering intelligence. We're already doing that now. I can tell you there are going to be people intermingled within the crowds that you're not even going to recognize as law enforcement. I think it's safe to say we're probably going to have upwards of maybe 1,000, 1,200 law enforcement personnel available that day. And some of those are going to be kept in the backdrop, and I hope you never have to see them. But in the event we get protesters, in the event we have something tragic happen, and I'm not even thinking worst case scenario like other events, but something like a major thunderstorm or a tornado, we're going to have personnel available that we can deploy in a hurry to help evacuate people, deal with any issues that come up, all that stuff. We have a lot of people in place. Sir.
I just wanted to reconfirm, I think you said it before, there's no restriction on any bicycle traffic. People want to come in and out.
No, one restriction. They can't jump into the parade.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, because I heard something completely different yesterday. And I don't, there, and that, yeah, that's a separate conversation. The preference would be not on the commuter rail. I will say that.
Thank you. And then one follow-up, it's related to the food, but it's just basics, water. Is there any water stations, just ordinary things available places?
Yes, we have the water buggy coming. We have 2 water buggies coming. Water bug, the up at the comfort station, up by the bridge is going to be closed. We will have portable bathrooms across the street, but we will have a water station there. And we're going to have a water station. I'm working a couple of private owners in the Walden lot. I have 2 options. They have to upgrade their meters, and they're working with the town so that we can attach in the Walden lot. And around town, we have the water refilling stations in quite a bit of locations. At Emerson Field, there's 4 or 5. At the Visitor Center, there's another one kind of off of Monument Square. So there's quite a few, and those will be on the map for refill. But these buggies, it's like a water fountain, and you could refill a water bottle. Okay? Does that answer your question? So yes, we're trying. I did say last time that we have a bottled water ban, but I'm not going to enforce that the day of.
Right here in the back, Brian.
Hi, what if there is torrential downpours that day? I mean, is everything a rain or shine activity, or is there a bailout option?
Well, we are going to provide raincoats, no. From having done this parade for the last, I don't know how many years I've been here, a lot, I've only seen it I've seen it canceled once. And that was because the weather was really, really bad. I've been here when there's been torrential downpours. It does limit the crowd, obviously. 2018, we did have torrential downpours. We had some other issues we were dealing with. So it's really going to be up to the committees to make that decision and make that call. But that would be, unless they know, we're going to get a blizzard on the 19th, I think you're not going to know until the day of. That would be my guess.
And what about the drone show? Is that weather affected at all?
I would say
the drone show is affected by weather.
Yes.
So a question related to weather, are there any policies around propane tank heaters? Because I remember a couple years ago, it was 1 degree on the morning of April 19th. Have you thought about that?
That's a fire department question. I am going to make that known. I will raise that with my friends that live next door to us. I'm sure they have accounted for it. That's just information that usually doesn't cross over into us, to be quite honest. Come on, more. That's what I'm here for.
Hold on, I'm coming. It's all right, get my stuff.
I have a very loud voice. I'm just maybe very uninformed. What is a drone parade? Is it just little?
No.
And what is it?
Fireworks.
Curious.
Fireworks with drones.
Oh, okay.
Lexington
That's
just had
fireworks.
one.
Okay.
In Lexington.
Lexington, yeah. Yeah.
And they're choreographed.
Yep.
It's after dark. So the event will start around 7:45. The drones itself go up around 8:15. It's really darkness dependent. But you will be able to see them from Monument Square. It should be a really cool. Lexington did one in the fall as a kickoff event. So if you've seen any of the footage from that one, very similar.
You can have fireworks and not be downtown, that's the benefit.
Right.
You can have fireworks.
You should be able to, once we pick the location.
Dozen plus years ago, we did the fireworks as part of the 350th or 375th of the town. I still can't remember the exact year. That was done up at the high school. The reason I know that is because I managed that event up there, and that had a huge turnout. So I do expect us to get a pretty good turnout for the drone show.
So it is 8:45. We'll take a couple more if we have them, but I just want to remind everybody to scan the QR code, make sure we have your email. This is our 4th public business meeting that we've had over the past 5th. Thanks, Gary. 5th business meeting that we have had since in the last 2 years. This is the biggest attendance we've had, and I'm really excited that everybody is engaged. Communication, as Captain Goldman said, is a two-way street. Make sure we have the information to reach you, and we will reach you. Social, email, you name it, we have printed copies, we have the visitor center opens this weekend. We're doing our best to get the information out to you. But the best thing you can do is keep us informed with what your needs are and then give us a little time to adapt and answer your questions.
That's why I don't.
Based on a recent Boston Globe report, have you put in some extra security in case some rambunctious people from Lexington come down to upstage the proceedings?
Don't tell them. We've already got spies over there.
You're on camera.
Geotags. I'll say it. And so as they get close to the town, we're going to identify them and we're just going to stop them at the border.
Are we getting actual credential badges, employees in stores in town?
So,
no, just names on a list.
just names on a list. If you are a resident, you will get a placard for your car. You're going to get 2 per resident. I'm going to let Donna talk about credentials. Donna, if anybody doesn't know, is our public information officer.
Good morning. So yes, if you are a resident within the closure area that was on the map a little bit earlier, you're going to get 2 car hang tag placards for your car, and you can use those if you need to get in and out after 6 o'clock on Friday night and, pretty early before the parade the next morning. As far as the businesses go, if you've taken the survey and you've identified what staff need to get in on Saturday, they'll get a car placard to get them in the lot and to get them past any road issues around Route 2, I guess. Yeah. But they won't be getting individual badges or anything like that. Yes.
I've heard conflicting things about Lexington Road down near Orchard House being open, being closed. I've heard 2 conflicting things. I just wondered about that.
You haven't talked to me.
I'll come up and talk to you.
Lexington Road, down by the Orchard House, that's going to be limited traffic. That's going to be restricted access. 2 reasons. We do expect a lot of pedestrians to be out there, and we're also having, the buses are going to come down Cambridge Turnpike, they're going to come up Lexington Road. There's going to be that issue there, so we're not letting any vehicular traffic in there. And then the second, and it's not really sharing a secret, is it's a layer to all this in terms of planning. If we can prevent vehicles from getting too close, then we can prevent them from breaking through. And it keeps everything in check.
When you say limited traffic, do you mean closure 8 o'clock Friday, but available up until then? So up until now, there were some of our residents who were allowing some of our staff parking in their driveways. That's no longer an option, is it?
If they have credentialing, we will get them through. So residents, public safety, buses. Those are the 3 we've stood by when we talk about restricted access. So if they have the credential, we will work to get them through.
But not during the parade. So I just really want to make sure we communicate very clearly and our expectations are reasonable. During the actual parade, no.
If
We're not moving and leaving.
Hey, Mel?
Does that make sense?
If they're on the outskirts, if they're further out.
We're not letting people move.
No, not in through here. Let me clarify that for a second. I won't go back to the map, but where you saw the red on the map, that is the parade route. That is restricted. We're the only ones that are going to be moving through that, and we're not even going to be moving in vehicles. We have golf carts, we have UTVs, we have all sorts of other means to do that, okay? If it's more in the yellow on the outskirts, then that's what we call the restricted access, where if, for instance, the Orchard House in that general area, the parade's not going by there. So we can control that a little easier and we can ease up on the restrictions. I hope that makes sense.
I just wanted to add one more thing on the food trucks. Food truck folks will be getting placards for their trucks as well as ID badges there, because we want those folks to be identified. And also, one more thing, if you are a business or any kind of the museum, anything that you think you might be impacted that weekend, please take a minute and fill out the survey. It helps us understand what you need, who needs it, and that way we can talk back and forth.
This time I have a question as a resident on Monument Street. I think I'm in the soft closure zone,
What number?
712.
Okay.
After Fenn, before Hutchins. This might sound like a silly question, I just want to be clear. I know we'll get a placard to move the car around during the not hard closure window. We can have our cars parked in the driveway without that displayed, or, because we have guests coming in who will be parked in our driveway. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay.
Just keep in mind, once the closures go up, in and out through Carlisle. You can't get into Monument Square.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mark Sinay. I'm the property manager for 30 Monument Square. I was wondering what the plan was between 30 and 22, that L parking lot, the rear parking lot off Bedford, Bedford Street there. We were planning on shutting that right down, blockading it. And then we have tenants that park at Holy Family and First Christian Science. We're telling them just to block those lots right out, nobody in. And not sure if you had plans for them.
Let's talk about that. Holy Family, we're using as media staging. We've gotten permission to do that. The other locations, again, my preference, because it's right in what we call the hot zone, it's right in the middle of the hard closures. We don't want vehicles down there, just on the off chance somebody has to try and leave. But let's talk a little bit more about that. I think that'll be easier than trying to pull it apart right now.
Are there any scheduled visitors, speakers, dignitaries planned to be at like the North Bridge ceremony, for example, that might inspire protesters?
We made it to 8:50 before someone asked that question.
Well, I thought I got ahead of it with the manhole covers. So here's
Gary,
the thing. We're not going to. I'm fine.
Yeah, so I was sort of amazed that given the number of rumors that are circulating, and I'm almost, in our staff, or volunteers and staff, are hearing on an almost daily basis, so is the president coming to this event? And the answer is, we have had no information to indicate that he will be on the premises. And I believe, our public safety staff would know first if that were to happen. So we've not seen or heard anything in that regard. So in terms of just a real quick summary of the VIPs, that we've invited a number of elected officials, federal, state, and of course our local elected officials, and then some other representatives, including we have confirmation from Congresswoman Lori Trahan will be here. We understand that the governor of the Commonwealth, Maura Healey, will be present. We believe Lieutenant Governor Driscoll will be present. We have the British Consul General for New England participating, the Japanese Consul General for Boston attending and participating. We have several senior military officials joining us. Two of these are associated with the National Guard. For those of you who are historians or history buffs, the origin of the National Guard system in this country was started here in Massachusetts. So the Guard is particularly interested. So General Stephen Nordhaus, who is the chief of the Bureau of the National Guard and a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he's based at the Pentagon. He will be here. The Adjutant General of the Massachusetts National Guard, General Gary Keefe, will be present. And our Parade Marshal will be Captain Kelly, a Navy veteran who served during the Vietnam War era. He will be our Parade Marshal and will be, he is a Congressional Medal of Honor awardee. So those are the individuals that will be participating in the, as dignitaries in the parade, and there will be others, I'm sure, that we'll hear.
Captain, do you want to address the protesters, counter-protesters question?
Goes back to what I was saying earlier. We've got probably close to 1,200 law enforcement personnel, most of which will be staged around this event. If we get protesters, we had a meeting yesterday. I'd like to say we're in a really good place to deal with them. Again, nothing's ever going to be perfect. And to be quite honest, the protesters aren't really what we're concerned about. It's the counter-protesters that come in. Protesters will make themselves known. There's places for them to stage up at the North Bridge. We dealt with this in 2018. It's the other half that decides to come in that wants to challenge them. And we're in a position to address that and deal with that very effectively.
All right, I'm going to close out this meeting. I know all of you have stores to get going to. Thank you to MMTV for recording. Thank you for First Parish for letting us use their space today. Thank you to our amazing staff, Gary and Captain Goldman for presenting, and Melanie, our health director, Donna, our public information officer. This has taken an entire community, as it should, and it should be a community-wide celebration. Make sure we have your email. Make sure you follow us on social. Polly and Lori are doing an amazing job at updating FAQs and social and maps. And just stay in touch with us. Officer Hawkins is your contact for businesses. He's sitting up there at the front. Thank you. His email is everywhere. There are papers for the survey. There's papers to sign up. There's a QR code. And we're going to be great in 37 days. Thanks, everybody.